Penultimate race weekend of the 2011 FIA World Touring Car Championship as we head to mainland China, to the eastern seaboard, to the metropolis of Shanghai. We're just 35 kilometers outside the city centre at the Tianma circuit. It's a brand new facility for the World Touring Car Championship. It's only been open itself some 6 years, and for the first appearance here, it's going to throw up an awful lot of headaches for our World Touring Car drivers. Cars on the grid and preparing for round 21 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. First time the touring cars have come to mainland China after visiting the Chinese enclave of Macau every year of the championship. For the first time we are deep in the heart of the Chinese mainland, and Marcello Lotti on the right, the promoter of the World Touring Car Championship with the local Chinese promoters, having to switch focus here to Tianma from Guangdong, one of the 3 circuits surrounding Shanghai and the neighbouring area, because there was a problem with getting Guangdong ready for the race weekend in time. However, everything has progressed nicely here. The drivers, though, are not expecting this to be an overtaking fest. It is a tight and twisty, short circuit, just over a minute in lap time. You saw our championship points leader, Ivan Muller. He has qualified in 7th place for race 1 and will be 4th on the grid for race 2, assuming that everybody takes up their normal grid spots. And with Rob Huff starting 2nd and 1st, the championship may be about to take yet another twist. Well, hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Sitting alongside me, 3-time British Touring Car champion Matt Neal. And Matt, you know, in the British Championship, Alan Gow is very keen on going to shorter circuits rather than long, strung out 2.5-mile Grand Prix tracks to try and keep the action together, to try and keep the cars together, and also to give the fans, you know, more than 6 laps. You know, here they'll get 25 laps at such a short circuit. You see a lot of the cars. I'm just looking at those. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Martin, definitely. I'm just looking at those big dark clouds that we're picking up in the background. I'm trying to avoid looking at the big dark clouds because after Donington, my weather forecasting skills, I'm afraid, rank right up there with. I had a lady phone earlier to say that there's a hurricane on the way. Well, let me assure you, there is no hurricane. I know some of the lads have been struggling with, you know, with reception on the internet and everything. And so I wonder whether they're weather forecasting. I know RML were always used to be pretty cute when they were running in Britain, and they used to send someone a mile away from the circuit and just get them to sit there in a car, and as soon as Spot started arriving, he was on the phone too. Well, you know, yeah, internet... It's not an interesting day for them. Internet, Twitter, all of that is an issue when you come to China for reasons that we don't need to go into, but driving out into the direction of the prevailing weather and sitting there with a walkie-talkie, that isn't so much of an issue. So that may well be their best weather for it. That's not even a prediction, that's just a timing, isn't it? It's going to rain, it's raining with me, it'll be with you in 5 minutes. Yeah, so I mean, you were just saying it's a tight and twisty circuit. Yeah, it's going to be tough to overtake. But a lot of the, when you know, we are touring car racing, it does get physical, and if you can just get your nose inside someone, you know, along the inside, and we've got how many first gear corners here? 4, 5 even, I think. So it's in these heavy braking areas where you can just get your nose in, just get alongside, slide the car up the inside. You're going to see a lot of action. You know, it's going to be ever so busy out there. You're saying get your nose inside, slide in. I'm saying just get your nose in far enough to realise that there isn't room, and the guy in front of you gets spun out or punted off. I'm just saying, watch Muller. I think he's going to be on fire. No, I agree. 2 Chevys, 2 BMWs, and then the rest of them follow through. And towards the back of the grid, a grid drop for Freddie Bart, and Fabiani, Ma and New will be on the back of the grid. They are allowed to start. On board with Rob Huff on what will be a very brief formation lap, ready for the rolling start of round 21 of the championship. There is the pace car leading them round. Aluminium's on pole position for Chevrolet, Rob Huff in 2nd for Chevrolet. Incidentally, the Cruze, which was introduced in 2009, has now become Chevrolet's biggest selling current market vehicle. Over 1 million units sold. And they haven't yet, I don't think, really started to crack the Chinese market with massive car marker here. Dick Bennett's in the background there, the West Surrey team boss. His car lines up in third. Colin Turkington, Norbert Michaelis fourth. The Gabriele Tarquini, Tom Coronel, and then seventh placed Ivan Muller. Robert Dahlgren outside the top 10. He's in 11th, 12th place, isn't it? Oh, hang on a minute, let's turn your mic on.
Martin, now, just a quick one. There was a lot of drivers pinged. They have, in this rolling start procedure, they have a minimum and maximum speed they can go, and officials will look at their data, and a lot of drivers did get pinged, and there's a lot of fines handed out after the last race. So
exactly right.
They're all going to be absolutely trying to get right on the money and also stay in their line of the grid boxes.
Problem here is, look, there's no sort of run up to the grid. You're coming out the final corner. They get the green first time around. Menu on the inside, and Huff tries to go around the outside. It's a very tight first corner, bumping there, and Michaelis gets shoved out wide as Tarquini goes through past him up into fourth place, but the top three manage to keep it all under control. Menu and Huff, well, they're going to try, and Huff's got to try and tuck in, but as you said, getting your nose inside, well, that's what Turkington's been trying to do, to try and get inside Huff, but he's kept it clean. Michaelis is back up to fourth. Muller's already in sixth place, so he's made up one spot from the grid and is challenging Tarquini. But look at this, you know, we're halfway around the lap already, and we're still 2 by 2 halfway down the field, with everybody desperately trying to find a bit of ground. Tarquini defends very hard indeed. That is down into turn 9. This is 10, 11, 12, and basically it's all one line. It's 4 wide there as Dahlgren goes up the inside of I don't know who. Didn't get through. He's behind Oriola. And at the moment, it's Menu who leads from Huff. Yeah, there's going to be some of that.
If you get shuffled out down here, you're not going to lose one. You're going to lose 4, 5, 6 positions.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Menu leads, Huff second, then the BMWs of Turkington, and the black and orange one is Michaelis. Yeah, and Tarquini really didn't contest that at all, did he? Because that's such a short straight. It's almost inconceivable that Muller got by just on sheer brilliance of driving. Tarquini just let him go, I think, in the hope that he would then be able to finish the race. Pepe Oriola has a big lock-up in front of Robert Dahlgren. They battle for 12th. I can't keep this up for 24 more laps.
I was going to say you can breathe in a minute.
Well, so Muller up to 5th, so he's already then... Tarquini's in trouble, isn't he? He's backing everybody up and dropped right off Muller.
Yeah, Muller's got some clear air in front of him now, so it'll be... I wouldn't have thought it's going to be long before he moves up onto the back of Michelitz and gets onto that crocodile there.
There's Alexei Dudicalo leading a little group, and Thiago Montero getting the hurry up from Christian Poulsen. Behind them, Freddie Bart, the Swiss racing car, the red and white car, is already up to 15th. He started 23rd. That's Tarquini, yeah. Ran off wide. What's up with Gabriele's car? Do you remember he had that thing, was it in Valencia, where the car switched itself off and he had to do Control-Alt-Delete to get it to restart, as Coronel goes very wide indeed out of the final corner, or out of the first corner rather, and Coronel is under pressure in the background. Here's Thiago Montero. I'm sure our executive producer Alessandro is doing his bananas. He's trying to translate what he wants through the Chinese TV crew here, and just as we wanted to see what was happening behind with Montero, unfortunately it all chopped back. Montero got by Coronel as they tripped over Tarquini. Now here's the rolling start. Again, Menu and Huff. The critical thing when your teammates on the front row is that you have somehow both got to survive the first corner, haven't you? There's Coronel getting sideways, and that's where he lost a position at the start, and Darrell O'Young going way out wide.
Yeah, ooh, inches to spare there, inches to spare.
And in fact, Michaelis got just a little push from behind. This is Dahlgren's view with Poulsen. Bumpity bump, bump, bump.
Yeah, concertina effect going in.
Yeah.
Problem is, at this point you're so unsighted in the car because you sit so low down and far back in the cars. You know, you've got nothing like the sort of vision that we're seeing from the TV camera there.
That was the pass of Tarquini, and Tarquini was on the brakes early. Definitely allowed Muller to go by. I think right from the start.
Yeah,
Tarquini
I don't think it's going to be long
healthy.
before we see Muller into the back of Michelitz. He's going to be.
He's got to catch him first.
He's going to get his hooks into him soon.
Mind you, he's got 20 laps.
Yeah, I mean, looking at how...
Oh, Oh, Turks alongside Huffy. He's got his nose inside, and Huff is trying to squeeze him and has to, because Turkington could be very dangerous. And Matt, one thing, I know, one thing that front-wheel drive tyres don't like is going around corners.
Well, that's just what I was trying to get to. I mean, the pace is exceptionally hard, and you see how hard they're throwing them into. I do think tyre wear is going to become an issue in the last third of this, and it's who looks after it. But then that can bring the BMWs into play, and Turks will know that. You know, he's been around. He's fairly young, but he's got a long pedigree, and he's a lot of experience under his belt. So he could almost sniff a win here.
Well, as you well know, you don't accidentally win British Touring Car Championships, so he's got plenty of racing and roll your sleeves up ability.
Well, I always say, as soon as you get in the car, you know the first lap whether it feels good. In any session, you know, because you know what it should feel like. You can see how your opposition's doing, where they're strong, where they're weak. And if he's got in that car and he's done the first 2 laps and you're thinking, I've got half a chance here, this feels good, you know, then he's going to push.
And the other factor here, of course, is if it feels good now and you've got 25 laps to go, respective to a front-wheel drive rival, it's only going to start feeling better as the race progresses and the front-wheel drive tyres start to wear more, because they're having to brake, turn, accelerate, all with the front tyres. And it is I mean, they're all very tight corners, and that's going to work hard against them.
Dick's got his stopwatch out, so everyone's in trouble.
Dick's he looks as relaxed as ever, doesn't he? He hides his nerves well, if he's got any. But after that little kerfuffle 2 or 3 laps ago, now Huffy is starting to creep back up towards the tail of Anna Menu.
He's taking Colin with him as well.
Yeah.
Well, Huffy's just set the fastest lap of the race, hasn't he?
And in fact, Mikulits has now got Muller closing right up on him, and as you predicted, Muller will have to try and work hard to get up to Mikulits and get by him. Norbert needs to try and hang on, because if Muller shows his nose, he's really going to have to roll over and let him go to preserve his Yokohama points. The Yokohama Independence Trophy will be the big focus for the man in the orange and black car, Norbert Mikulits. But for the man in the yellow and white car, Colin Turkington's not doing the entire Yokohama Trophy season. He's not doing all the World Touring Car races. What he is doing is coming out and trying to perform his level best. And after 3rd place in qualifying, the very least, Matt, that you would want to get from race 1 if you're Turkington is a podium spot. The very least is to at least finish where you start.
Yeah, I mean, as I kept saying, he's not going to want to do anything stupid, because he knows Huffy's up for the championship. He's a fellow Brit, but he is going to, you know, he's there to do a job for his sponsors and his team, and at the moment he's doing a bit of a stellar job.
Huffy's having to defend, isn't he? Definitely.
Well, Menu's not running away with it.
No.
It's Michelitz it's going to be interesting to see his remit there, because you know, he's got Poulsen 4 places back, and he's got to think of the Yokohama Trophy. So he's not going to get in wanting any dust up, and he knows Muller's going to want to push forward. So I can see him almost not rolling over, but not putting up a really tough fight. But
and it's not just 4 places, there's metal in between. Even if Muller goes by and Mikulits drops to 5th, he doesn't lose any points. He still gets maximum points for the Yokohama Trophy.
I'll tell you what, Turks is right on the back of Huffy now, isn't he?
Well, you know, when he showed his nose for those couple of corners, got a wheel up alongside Huff's rear wheel, as you said, you know, I think he would probably have felt an awful lot more comfortable if it was Menu, who's not one of the top 2 in the championship, that he was trying to get by in that situation,
100%.
rather than effectively, you know, being in the position where you might terminally affect the championship. Tarquini, you know, I'm surprised almost that it's taken that long, because clearly on lap 1 or 2 the car was not right. Tarquini does not roll over for anyone willingly.
He was quick in morning warm-up as well, so they obviously got the race set up right on the car, but just whether something's gone wrong or whatever, I don't know.
Well, usually when there's something wrong with the car and it hasn't hit anything, you tend to look at the electronics, don't you?
Colin, you know, he's not being shy, is he?
No, and Huffy's, you know, having to get on the brakes to make sure he gets a good exit. He's sacrificing the entry to the corners for the exits for the corners to make sure that Turkington can't get alongside him on one of the 2 little short shoots here. So Turks has, and again, this will only exacerbate itself if Menu and Huff are really having to push hard to stay in front of Turkington. Their tyres are going to be worked harder and harder and harder. And with the front-wheel drive car, all of the work goes through the front tyres. With the BMW rear-wheel drive, the power transmission, the wheel spin, you saw Mikulis sliding out the first corner there. That affects the rear tyres, and the braking and the steering affects the front tyres. So you get a slightly better spread of wear. And as the race progresses, Mikulis should have a better car under him than Muller does, and Turkington likewise be better than the guys in front.
I mean, this is giving Menu a nice, relaxed breathing space. All he's got to do is try and reel the laps off. But, you know, this is going to be an awful long race for Huffy by the looks. You know, he's going to be well under pressure. But you cast your mind back across the season, Rob Huff, he has responded ever so well to pressure. You know, at Monza, you know, I can think of more than a handful of events where he has been under intense pressure for the whole race and responded, you know, and come up with the goods.
Bernani down the inside of Thiago Monteiro. That's a change for 8th place for Mehdi Bernani. So that's a really good run.
Showing some of his morning warm-up.
Yeah, and you know, showing that actually you can make an overtaking manoeuvre. You do have to. I mean, turn 1, I'm afraid, is the obvious place.
Now look at this. Coronel's come up on the back of Muller as well.
Yes.
This is BMW. This could become BMW country now.
Well, in the top 8, we have got 5 BMWs and 3 Chevy Cruisers. So yes, it could become BMW country. And the significance of Coronel there in the red, white and blue BMW coming up is that it immediately relieves the pressure on Norbert Mikulis, because it means that Muller is, look, I mean, instantly within half a lap, Muller's dropped back 2 or 3 car lengths, because suddenly he's having to shut the door and think about, hang on a minute, where's Coronel coming from?
It's interesting that in all the free practices and, you know, sort of through the week preceding, the Sunred cars have struggled for whatever reason. You don't know why they've struggled, and then they sort of with the intermittent conditions in qualifying, you know, the drivers pulled some good laps out the bag, and they were quite on it this morning. But they just seem to be dropping out now. They're out the top 8s, which is a shame. It'd be nice to see them in the mix.
Charlie New picking up what was 17th place ahead of Yukinori Taniguchi we saw in replay. Freddie Bart was behind them. Now, I said at the beginning he was going really well, off 23rd. He was up to 17th place earlier on. He's now dropped down to 19th. So, yeah, I mean, all the Sunred cars. Top Sunred car at the moment, Thiago Monteiro, 9th ahead of Robert Dahlgren. And then Alexei Dudicalo and Pepe Oriola 11th and 12th. But Tom Coronel, like Colin Turkington, pushing for a pass here on a Chevrolet. And both championship top 2 Chevy drivers, Huff there and Muller behind, have got an anxious BMW driver that wants points and positions out of it, and is desperate to try and find a way by. So it's not necessarily going to be easy for either of them.
But a BMW driver who's pretty conscious of not wanting to do anything daft as well.
That's a very fair point. If you were Huff and Muller, of all the BMW drivers, you'd probably rather have Turkington, Coronel behind you than a number of others who might be younger, more impetuous, a bit less well judged about how they're doing things, perhaps. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Very experienced heads on their shoulders. Turkington having another little run. That's turn 3, that sort of right-hand kink there, down to turn 4. Big braking there. That's a second gear corner. And then they come down to turn 5 here. This is first gear. So a little lock up there from Turks. He realised he was in danger of ramming Huffy from behind and does not want to do that. Second, third, 4th gear you're grabbing here. Then back down the box to first gear on the brakes. They are up and down like the Assyrian Empire, throwing through the gears. If there were still manual gearboxes in the BMWs, boy, you'd have a sore left hand, or right hand, because they're left-hand drive cars by the time you finished.
Be like a fiddler's elbow, wouldn't it?
You would, you really would. And I mean, for the first time racing here, I'm sure all the BMW drivers with experience of these cars with manual gearboxes are very glad they got paddle shifts. Tarquini just saw coming back into the pits again. So for Gabrielli, he can scratch this weekend as well, I'm afraid. This is not going well with that car.
Yeah, their lap times are dropping off now. They're almost a second off what they were doing. So, you know, we're only just looking at half distance.
Well, that's for the leaders. For somebody who's in fresh air, Christian Poulsen on his own in 7th, 106.8. Now, that's as quick as he's gone just about at all, yeah.
Not quite.
His qualifying time was a 107.5.
Coronel's having a sniff again.
Yeah. Well, he has to, you know, we're halfway through, and now it is the pace of the Chevrolets that is holding everybody else up. Menu's just gone into the 106s, 106.4. Obviously, because somebody said, oh, they're saying you've slowed down, mate. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's his best lap. No, I'm reading the wrong part of the screen. 107.3.
I won't correct
so,
you,
yeah.
I'll let you correct yourself.
Very good. Just point and shake your head, and that's it. But Christian Poulsen in clear air is going as quickly, probably, as he has done. And definitely now you can see that Huff and Muller are holding up the BMWs behind, and here comes Turkington, and Huff's got to let him go, because going off costs you a lot more points than losing one position.
Boy.
And instantly, hello, Turkington has just cleared off. Now, all right, Huffy was compromised all the way through that corner, but actually so was Turkington, because he went in late and deep, which meant he didn't get the exit drive that he would normally have got if he was online.
Now, there's two people who more than Huffy, who definitely don't want to see that. One's Menu,
yeah,
who had a nice, comfortable win under his belt, and
well,
now
there's Eric Nev as well. He doesn't want to see that.
But the other one's Huffy, but Muller is going to be going great. There's only now one between us, and if he can have a go at Michelitz.
However, he can't, because he's nowhere near Michelitz. The reason that Muller didn't want to see that is because right behind him, Coronel will have seen that as well, and will be very well aware that you can outbrake a Chevrolet into the first corner. And Coronel will also be very well aware, maybe, that you can have a run to turn 4.
But then Muller knows he's got to keep it tight into there, maybe. It's going to be...
Do you know what? I mean, yeah, pressure is on Muller now, because the damage has been done to Huff. He's now down to 3rd. Turkington has gone. So Huffy needs to stay in front of Michelitz, but Muller's got to try and get in front of Michelitz while holding off Coronel. And excuse me, here comes Poulsen as well. We've still got 10 laps to go.
Marches on.
Well, you know, remember what race 2 in Valencia was going to look like. A BMW 1-2-3, until suddenly Coronel and Villa clashed, and then in the last corner Michelitz got dive bombed for the lead, and it all just kind of went wrong.
BMWs
and it was a Chevy 1-2-3
wherever they are,
yeah,
middle of the pack, everything.
There's Villa and Engsler through past Dudicalo, so Villa's now up to 12th.
Darrell Young's next on the hit list.
Yeah. Darrell, in fact, Dudicalo was 11th at the beginning of the lap. So Young is now 11th, Villa is 12th, Dudicalo is now down to 14th, because Engsler's gone by as well, while I was checking what the positions were on the timing screen.
Now, if we can drop back, if they drop back to Turkington, it'll be interesting, because this is his first clear lap. Oof, yeah, almost half a second quicker than Menu.
And in the background, I think Yukinori Taniguchi just passed Michel Nukia in the Seat. I think all the Seats are really in trouble here. Coronel, not an independent driver, don't forget. And Poulsen, therefore, is effectively second of real, if you like, Yokohama independent drivers, because although Turkington is an Indy, he's not a championship threat. So it's between Michelitz and Poulsen for, well, as the best of championship runners.
He can win this.
He could. He's still got, he's still got time to, but you see, Menu has been, while Huff's been held up, has been just about able to keep his tyres alive. There's Taniguchi, and through comes Charlie New as well on Pepe Oriola. So Oriola, like all the other Sunred drivers, is having a really tough time of it. They're just understeering off the track, aren't they? Just can't hold the line the way that the Chevys or the BMWs can.
I'm sure tyre wear is a factor for these front-wheel drive guys. You know, you look at Muller just driving that car inch perfect.
Oh dear. Now then, Menu has been escaping from Turkington last time round. Menu a 107.4, Turks a 107.2, and around the outside.
He's got the inside.
Is he going to hold on? He'll have the old inside line through here. Oh, in fact, Muller just couldn't get the drive off the corner at all. Never mind, you know, having the inside line in the BMW through the little right-hand kink at turn 3. That wasn't a factor. Muller couldn't get off the corner.
But Muller's got to be ever so careful, because if he... Coronel's going to be there waiting to pounce. One open door.
Now he's asking Gabrielli, please, would you mind, in fact that's obviously not Gabrielli, that's Giancarlo, his engineer, going over to say, would you please ask Gabrielli to come back into the pits or get out of the way when the leader comes up behind him, because Menu does not want to be stuck for even a corner behind Tarquini, who is clearly struggling with the problem. And, you know, the sod's law says if Menu gets up behind Tarquini, that will be the moment Tarquini's engine will cut completely. It'll just go...
Now, Martin, you can't tell me this isn't great racing. This isn't nose to tail, edge of the seat stuff.
It is nose to tail. It's not Monza. It's not great racing.
You just love Monza.
Okay, here we go. Well, I do love Monza. Well, Ivan's having another look. Here he goes up the inside of Norbert Michelisz. This time he needs to get the drive. Michelisz's rear brakes are on fire. And
Ivan made sure he wasn't coming back that time, didn't he?
Yeah. Ivan put his shoulder into it and leant on Michelisz. And now Coronel wants to go by as well. And Michelisz and Poulsen, who are battling for the lead of the independent category. Poulsen leads it, Michelisz is second. Up
inside.
Coronel's on the inside of Michelisz, and Poulsen goes through as well. And Norbert's in trouble. Poulsen now retakes the advantage in the Yokohama independence category. Now, we saw flames on the right rear brake of Micheliz's car, and that may well be a bit of rubber debris or something that's just caught light on the rim because the brakes are so hot. But there's probably going to be a knock-on effect in that the car's not stopping the way he wants to. Tarquini just went through the pit lane in the background there again, didn't he, I think?
It's certainly gone to advantage Poulsen in the Yokohama Trophy, hasn't it?
And unfortunately for Huff, that has allowed Muller to escape and close. I mean, he's effectively right behind him now in terms of points. Huffy will get 16-12 and Muller will get 10. So Huff, second on the grid to Muller's 7th, is now actually only going to score 2 points more than Muller at the moment. So it's not quite as good as Ivan said. He's going to do what he can do, and actually he's done a pretty decent job so far. Tom Coronel there as Tarquini comes in for fresh tyres, trying to do something to sort out whatever ails his car. Tom Coronel in 5th place. Now, can he catch Ivan Muller? And if he can he get by him? 5 laps to go after this.
I'd like to see him try.
Well, I'm not sure he will. I think Coronel may have spent too long bottled up behind Muller and Michelisz because Poulsen is all over the back of him.
Turkin took another 10th out of Menu that lap. He's down to within half a second now. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up at the end of this one.
Well, what has Menu got left is Christian Poulsen's team. He's run with the Liqui-Moly Engstler cars, but he does bring his own guys, his own car from Denmark. Ran his own car.
Another 2 tenths for Turks that lap.
Coronel not able to get away.
Menu.
Well, there is Menu. He's not closing, is he?
With a shadow.
If it was any, couldn't
Menu
see.
with his shadow.
Just for a moment there, I thought, hang on, what's happened to Turkington? Oh, there he is. As Menu turned in, you could see the BMW hidden behind the Chevy. But, Menu, that was Muller making his way safely past.
He's only got 5 laps to go.
Can't figure out which back marker. Freddie Bart's in the pit lane as well. So Bart and Tarquini both struggling. This is lap 20 of 25. Blue flags being waved furiously. Leader is coming. And is that Fabio Fabiani? Yes, it is. Because Philip Marr has already gone a lap down. And that is Philip Marr being passed by Ivan Muller. So Fabiani is the next car that the leader will lap, and Fabiani trying to stay out of the way and doing a great job of arriving at the apex exactly when the lead pair wanted it. Dear, oh dear. I know he was, you know, you're still trying to race your own race, but didn't make that easiest. So Turkington lap 21 of 25 then. Can he win this? That would be a massive, massive result for Turkington, for Vika's sport as well, and for West Surrey. Lots of gum chewing going on. Turkington family members, Vika sport members, and again, it's not a renowned
cheeks there.
Yeah. This really could go either way. Again, if you have money on, then you probably want to look away now. It's been waiting for your 5th ball to come out of the national lottery machine here. Menu's had a quiet time, hasn't he, since, you know, the opening couple of laps. John Waterman's still breathing there, just about.
Sweating a bit.
Yeah, humid, isn't it? But see, if Menu gets a good run through that final corner, Turkington can't get close enough, and that's where Menu is using his tyres at the moment, isn't it? Just enough. He's just got to get across the line more than a car length away.
He's trying everything to get that power down early, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, Menu's a wily old fox. He's been around a long time, and he knows how to keep a tight car. So You know, he's only got 3 laps. It'd be difficult, you know, one mistake and he's going to be on him.
Yeah, I don't think he needs one mistake, he's on him anyway. The thing is, for Turkington, if Menu gets to corner 4, the rest of it is pretty much, I'm going to say, a no overtaking zone, and now watch him shoot down the inside between 8 and 9 there, but it is going to be very, very tough. It's the exit from the final corner, or the final corner of any notes, turn 12, the sharp first gear left-hander at the end of this little wiggle. That's where Turkington needs the drive.
But the one good thing for us is, I mean, I'm sure Turks doesn't want to do anything stupid, but he knows there's no championship at stake for Menu.
Yeah.
So, you know, he can afford to be a little bit more braver at firing it up the inside here.
Yeah. Menu's too far away again this time. Turkington, you can't close that sort of gap, Matt. The gap is too big there. Again, Menu has done exactly what he needed to. If he can get off corner 1 here and then run up to turn 4, basically he can keep Turkington behind for the rest of the lap.
His exit from turn 12 is just good enough to get him far enough in front to where Turkington's dangerous into turn 1.
He might not have much tyre left compared to the BMW, but what he's got, he's using where he needs to. The rest of it, survive that, we'll live with that. And the BMWs continue to battle. Coronel and Poulsen squabbling over 5th here. Well, Poulsen showing you lots of the back of Coronel's car, but again, getting alongside. This is like one-make racing, because the cars will be very even, won't they? And Poulsen's not going to have an awful lot of advantage anywhere over Tom Coronel, so you've just got to, as Coronel is, you know, fond of saying in these races, even though they're short sprint races, you do have to exercise patience and wait for the mistake sometimes, because if you just have a lunge, then you're going to end up clattering into somebody.
Yeah, I'm just looking down the timing screen, and Dahlgren's made his way forward a little bit in the Volvo, but only to 10th. I was, you know, it's got a good front end on that car, so I was hoping he was going to make better progress than that. But he has come up now behind Michelitz, who's, you know, it's a BMW. It's going to be tougher to get past with the tyre wear and all the rest of it. So.
And I think Robert lost a couple of places in the opening lap, and so that's, you know, lots of extra cars to try and get by. There he is, down the inside of Michelitz, who got held up behind back marker Philip Marr. Marr in the number 23 Pro Team BMWs, a lap behind. And up behind him comes Bernani going through the other Pro Team car. So, yeah, that didn't work at all well. Meanwhile, in the middle of this is Nukia, who turns around Charlie New. Again, lapping the back markers, and Yukinori Taniguchi gets a whole load of that on the right front corner. I don't think that will have done the Cruise any good at all. No. That's exactly what I thought. Broken right front suspension, shattered tyre as well. So Yuke is going to have to try and make it round the last lap. Chatter, 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 chatter. And the moment he puts all the pressure on that right front corner, just, the upright sheared or something has broken. And again, you know, as the BMW spun, it clips your right front corner. You just know you're in trouble, don't you?
Just catches at the wrong angle and you're away.
Yeah. And again, oof, dear, oh dear.
No, that's going to hurt.
Now, so
that could stop the race.
Yes, because he's now got no suspension, 3 broken corners on the car. It is the last lap. They will get to the checkered flag. Or will they? That was Menu coming up in the background, wasn't it? Not what you want with Turkington right behind you on the last lap. Luckily, the yellow flags were out, and that pretty much seals it for Menu. Everybody else still scrabbling for positions. And there is Darrell O'Young, comes up to see his teammate sat in the middle of the road, and Menu goes around Oriola, who has also been through the pits and is a lap down. Well, it's the last lap, so they won't stop the race. The race will be stopped by the checkered flag. But what it does mean is that Turkington had no chance to get close. Alain Menu wins again. Colin Turkington in 2nd place. And in the championship, Rob Huff in 3rd. There he is at the line. And Ivan Muller in 4th. It could hardly have gone better for Ivan Muller. He is still the championship leader, and Huff barely closed at all. John Waterman looks very happy.
You can breathe out now, John.
And again, Alain Menu will be very happy. That is Menu's 4th win of the season. A very happy Dickie Bennett's there in that white shirt.
A good result for the Aviva team, though, isn't it?
So,
great result.
And for Alain Menu, 4th win of the season. I'm now lost a bit of paper.
Get
Talk
your
amongst
stats out.
yourselves.
Get
Talk
your
amongst
stats out.
yourselves. That is win number. Oh, that's all-time point scores. All-time wins. Here we go. Menu. That is now win number 17. He is ahead of Rob Huff in terms of World Touring Car wins, behind only Ivan Muller on 20 and Andy Prio on 18. So Menu's win here, his 4th of the year, makes him the 3rd most successful World Touring Car driver in the business. We'll be back with our winners' thoughts.